Totoro, which you're currently in at the moment.
There's so many puppets in My Neighbor Totoro, and some of them are small, like little soot sprites that on rods. One is fairly big, and I've been told that I can't go on into how big it is.
Oh.
But it's fairly big, and when you do see it, hopefully you'll be surprised by it, and it's manipulated by about 10 puppeteers.
Wow.
It's really quite big.
Are there moments where the line between you and the puppet becomes blurred? I guess what I'm asking is, are there moments when you believe you are the puppet? I realise that sounds mad.
No, I've had this experience where you're no longer there. It's like the puppet is completely alive and it's just moving and doing whatever it wants, and you're just sort of supporting it and just being there and witnessing. It's weird. It makes your skin, like, yeah. So I had this experience with a few puppets, but mostly with this little rabbit that I told you about. He's just a toy that my mother bought for me from a second-hand shop. The first show we made with him, there were 3 of us making him swim, and it wasn't just me. The 2 other colleagues that I used to puppeteer him with, they would say, he's alive, he's swimming by himself, I don't know what's happening. So the energy, our energy as puppeteers, and I think you know this, especially when you are 2 or even 3 or even 10, sometimes that energy, and I think we can all say that there's an energy of us people that we know it, we connect, right, in a way. And when your energy with the other person is so in tune that you don't even have to think, the puppet just moves. And that's what that little rabbit was doing to us. He was messing with our brains. I'm gonna swim and I don't care about you. So
when you're performing, exactly as Anna was saying, like with multiple people, like if you are performing, you don't talk to each other going like, oh, now you move there, and now your hands move there, or now your legs move there. Like you don't have time, nor you can't just talk in front of the audience like that. And you have to just be in sync in a sense, like your energy just has to kind of just synchronize.
That
together.
That's fascinating, because actually what I was going to ask you next was, in the play you're in, My Neighbor Totoro, it's a big cast of you, and I know you only had 6 weeks to rehearse before the run began. And a lot of the time you're not communicating through words, you're communicating simply through the puppet. So how do you get in sync with each other? How do you build that rapport, especially when there's so many of you?
Oh, such a good question. Yes, we only have 6 weeks, but the first week of it, we didn't go into any scene, nor puppetry or anything. The first week is just, as a group, how do we feel each other's energy? We have 26 people in the cast, and then plus the creative team, plus the stage management team, we have over 50, 60, and then with production team, so many people. And I remember the first day we kind of entered into the rehearsal room. There's so many people. We met each other, we said hi to each other, and then we sat down, and Phelan, the director, just passed around this mini Totoro, just a mini one.
This is a mini puppet.
A mini one, a very mini one. And then he just asked a question, a prompt, which is, what's alive in you today? And then we can either choose to share however much we want to share, however little we want to share. You also don't have to share anything. And then you kind of pass it along, and sometimes we spend 2 hours, 3 hours just having a check-in. And it's actually quite incredible because you really get to very quickly, number one, know each other, but also you know where each other is at mentally. So you know how to approach each other. And I think that also really helped when you then go into rehearsal. You feel like you already know that person. So when you're rehearsing, or when you're especially doing the puppetry scene, you really feel each other. As I'm saying this, I also realize how surreal it sounds too, but yes. For me, one of the things that I was definitely very, very, very touched by was how I've never been in a room like this, which is a room full of East Asian, Southeast Asian cast member. I've never been in a room like that, ever.
You mean where there were so many?
So many of us
Yeah.
in the same room together, and it feels very safe and very nice. And hopefully we do honour the tradition and heritage of this movie as well. Yeah.
As Heather was talking, a similar story came to my mind, because as a theater director, I also try to talk to the actors at the beginning of the rehearsal, and to have them, as Heather said, connect in the beginning of the process. And I wish people would take time in companies to create a safer space, right? I was working one time with two ladies, and they were really, really tense that day. And I asked them to do an exercise where they would walk around me in the space and just tell the story of how their morning went. Not in a loud voice, but in a small voice. And as they would pass me, I would hear them like swearing because they had to go to the post office and nobody was there to take care of them. And they had to drink 4 coffees and smoke 5 cigarettes. And they were so tense, both of them. And when they finished that exercise, they were like, oh my God, thank you for allowing us to come here, because we weren't in this space. We were in our minds with everything that we had to do in the morning for our families, our children, and everything. And so then they were able to be with each other and with me in that rehearsal space, and it was great for them. We all have our own stories, right? And we don't know what the other one has to face every day. So when you come to this space of theater, there is so little work with the actors' emotions in theater. We are people that we work with our emotions so much, and we don't know them as much as we should. We don't know about them. We don't have psychology studies. Some of us do, but not as much as we should, right?